TxStampin Sharon. I have a beautiful card to share with you today, and I have lots of tips and tricks, so make sure you hang with me till the end. I always appreciate your comments. I love the thumbs up, and if you know a crafty friend that would enjoy these tips and this video, why don't you share it with them? Let's get started. Look at this beautiful birthday card. Is that not gorgeous? It's a great fun fold. I just had to use the Brightly Gleaming paper for a non-Christmas card. I thought that this was beautiful. I have had some other ideas to put here, but I changed my mind, so I'll share that with you as we move forward. But we're gonna go ahead and make this card together. I am using painted glass from the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. It is a beautiful font. I love this stamp set. Great if you want to do some coloring or not, like we're not going to do on this card. I did pull out my detailed band dies because they are beautiful and it just goes so well with copper and this designer series paper. So I have 2 pieces of cardstock, and if you'll notice, this is 4 1/4 by 11 inches. We are going to score it at 5 1/2. This will be our base. And then this piece is 4 inches by 10 1/4. We're going to score this at 2 1/2 and at 5 inches. So 2 1/2 and 5 inches. This is the pretty peacock, by the way. I always like to use a bone folder to give that a good crease. And then this one we're going to fold back. I have my layers. This is the designer series paper, and it is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. That's another tip I have for you. And then this piece is 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. Did I say this was 3? This is 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and this is 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. I have my Very Vanilla already punched or already cut out with the die from the detailed band dies. And you all, I have shared this tip many times. However, when you are cutting out this very detailed die, it is very important. I'm gonna use my Take Your Pick tool. Do y'all have this thing yet? It is pretty cool. You want to pull that backing, and I'm just going to put this in there, get it started. We want to start pulling off that plastic coating. That plastic coating really makes it hard. I don't know if you can see the plastic through my finger. That plastic is really hard to cut this with, so make sure you pull that backing off. Another tip I have for you with this die is I keep a piece of cardstock, and I don't know if you can tell, it's pretty thin and very smooth. I just labeled it shim so that it didn't get put back in with my other cardstock. And sometimes I have to put my foil down on the cutting plate, put this on top, put my second cutting plate, and then add a little shim. It just helps get out those swirlies and those little leaves and things like that. So just another tip for you. But I'm not done with my tips, so. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and assemble before we assemble, we need to trim these 2 pieces down because we want them to match up with this layer of cardstock. So you're going to take it, kind of eyeball it in the center, and then we're just going to take our snips and cut it like that. And we're going to do the same thing up here. Again, eyeballing it. Is it centered? Yep, looks pretty good. And then we're going to trim. And then we're going to trim. So we're going to add this piece on the inside. Center it like that. And then this piece, I just like to fold it up just to make sure I'm putting it on the right panel. Line that up. Make sure our opening is the right way. Have you ever put a card on upside down? Done that more times than I care to remember. Okay, so we have everything in place. Now we're going to add our copper pieces with our liquid glue. If you wanted to try to use the snail, you have to make sure, like I just take it and twist it with my finger to make sure that the sticky is ready to adhere, because sometimes it's hard if you did not take off that plastic backing, like I said, it's hard to get it off. But I prefer to add this on with some liquid glue. Yes, I used that on a green ink pad. Apparently, I thought it was clean. Oh well, it's a glue sponge now. Plus the liquid glue allows you to line it up with that pretty peacock cardstock. You do want to be careful and try not to get the glue on the copper. If you do, depending on how big of an area, I take a paper towel or a tissue and I wet just the end and I just kind of wipe it gently. It will come off with water, okay? Again, learned that the hard way. We're going to use Pretty Peacock ink pad. Pull this down just a little bit so I can kind of get my head over it without getting my head in the camera. Okay, so we have that stamped. We're going to pop this up with some dimensionals. Have a beautiful birthday. Okay, I'm not done. So for the inside, I had wanted to stamp the butterfly. And then I wanted to color it with the light and dark Pretty Peacock and the bronze. The bronze is so pretty, and I haven't been using it lately, so I thought, well, let's see if we can use the bronze. But then I remembered, even though this is very vanilla thick, I better test it first. So if I'd have done that, you would be able to see that on the back. But isn't that pretty how it turned out? Super pretty. It was a great idea. However, I wanted to remind you not to do that. The only way you could do it, I mean, I could fussy cut out the butterfly. I just kept looking at his little antenna. And if I cut off the antenna, I would have to draw them on with a Stampin' Blend, and you'd be able to see it. So we're going to leave the butterfly as is. And that is our card. But I have some more tips to share with you, because remember at the beginning of the video, I told you that I had something else in mind there. Let me show you. Now, where did I get that color? This is this beautiful ribbon, but I felt like it was too light. There's that bronze. And I colored it. Simply gorgeous. Okay, turned out so pretty. You do want to color the back. Make sure you get it all coated. When you do this with the alcohol, it is going to be stiff. So after it dries, I'm not going to do it right now because it's still wet. I just take my bone folder and soften those fibers back up, and it helps get the alcohol broken down a little bit. So I just felt like that was too big, too bulky, so I did away with that. So while I was coloring, I pulled out this ribbon. Since my other ribbon was too bulky, I thought, oh, this is a lot more pliable and smaller. Let's color that. Don't try it. The ribbon part colored well, but the gold edge would not take the color. Gold and copper, I know some people might think it's okay, but I don't. Again, this is stiff, so, you know, I would just soften it up like that. But these ribbons, all the ribbons that I have been coloring, turn out well with the Stampin' Blends. I do hope you enjoyed this card, and I hope you learned some tips and tricks today. If you do not currently have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be honored to be your demonstrator. You can find my web store, my website link in the description box below. And by the way, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe with that button down below and hit the notification bell. You'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Happy stamping, y'all!